Hi, I'm Alex Anderson, and I want to share a story with you. Last fall at Market 2016, my new line Mirage debuted, and I have to say, when I walked into the RJR booth, my heart went pitter-patter when I saw the Flower Power quilt by Swirly Girls made out of Mirage. Absolutely loved it. Little did I know at that time, it was already determined that this was going to be a kit and project available to you. So right now Mirage is starting to ship to the local quilt shops, and I also got my hands on a bunch of kits. So you might be interested in making this as your spring summer project. It's super easy, super fast. Basically, it's made out of two different blocks. You've got the top block of the flower, and then you have the bottom part, which are the leaves and the stem. The block is half pieced, half fused. Super, super simple. Lots of fun to make. So now here are the tools that you are going to need. You're going to need fabric, and again, I would love to have you consider my particular kit. I love how RJR threw in some solids to go along with the prints that are in Mirage. Also, you're going to need some sort of fusible web. I love Appli-Web Plus. It's very, very lightweight, and the problem is as you start to layer up these circles, you are definitely going to want to use something lightweight because otherwise it's going to become very, very stiff. So again, I really, really suggest Appli-Web Plus. You're also going to need your other standard tools like your rotary cutter, ruler. I happen to find a glue stick to be super helpful too, and an applique pressing sheet to keep my iron clean. And yeah, that's pretty good. Oh, also, I learned how to use the non-slip circle save ruler by Creative Grids. You may want to consider this, but you don't have to have it because, of course, they give you all the template pieces right in the pattern. What I did was I printed out this PDF that's available to you to kind of use this as my guide. But I want to encourage you to play with the fabric, do what you want to do, or go to your stash and dig out your stuff and get sewing. It's just such a happy, happy, fun quilt. So let's get started. First of all, I want to show you how I've protected my ironing surface with freezer paper. I just ironed it down, and that way when I'm doing all the fusible stuff, I don't have to worry about gunking up my ironing surface. And again, also my applique pressing sheet I might put on top too. It's not necessary, but yeah, I think it's a good idea. So let's start with the background of this. This is simply a square that's been cut, and then we do flip and sew. Super easy. Draw a line. I think I used a FriXion in this case. I will use a FriXion when it's going to be within a seam. A FriXion goes away with heat, but apparently it will come back. So I'm just going to go and iron these down. And then let's give a quality control check on this other side. Let's see. Oh, you might want to go, well, here, like here. I think I'd like to go and trim all that off because I want it to be perfect. And then once I trim it off, I will snip away the seam so I don't have all these extra layers. Okay, that's good to go. Let's talk first about this center circle. I'm going to cut all three and then we'll fuse them all down at once. But this center circle measures at 4 inches, all right? Swirly Girls, they do have a Flower Power template page, and it is 1/4 of it, and so you would just take your template plastic and cut it as, totally all the way around. You're going to need a 10-inch circle, an 8-inch circle, and a 4-inch circle. I would fuse them, pre-cut them, and then layer them up and iron down. So back again to the center one. Here is a fabric that I have fused my fusible to on the back. Because the circle is going to finish at 4 inches, I wanted this to finish at 5. And this is using this wonderful ruler I'm going to show you. So how you fuse is this. You have the shiny side of this Appli-Web Plus. You put it on the wrong side of the fabric. You hold it down, fuse it, no steam, and then the ticket is you want it to cool before you take the paper off. But let me show you the other really neat thing. So I happen to have this 5-inch ruler. I want this to be 5-inch finished, and I just cut. I love how the ruler does not slip on this. All right, so now there is my fusible ready to go. I take a pin, I score the back side. It has cooled off, and the paper removes quite easily. I think you would be amazed at how soft this is, and it's stretchable, it's pliable, it's absolutely lovely. Okay, now I could take my template that I've made out of plastic, or I could use this absolutely awesome Creative Grid Circle Savi ruler. You can get circles from 3 inches all the way up to 15 inches, or 3.5 to 15.5. It's a heavy plastic, and there are grooves cut in it that you will actually take your rotary cutter and do your thing with. So what I'm going to do with this little piece is I'm going to find the center of it by folding like this. I might even take my little glue stick. This is a water-soluble glue stick. I'm just going to glue down the corners. Then I'm going to fold it again. I tried to do it without removing the paper first, and I didn't like it. It didn't come out nicely. Like that. There we go. And 4 inches, right? Let me scoot this out of the way. I'm going to take the folded corner, super important, you only have to do it once to understand why you put the folded corner down here. You get it in here, and you line it up. Fold right there, raw edges out there. Here is my 4-inch cut. You can see I've got this extra that's going to be waste. On a smaller curve, you're probably going to want to grab your small rotary cutter. You're going to take the blade out and tip it down so that you can run it around. It's a really tight curve. And you're having to push because it is 4 layers with a blade that's really designed for 2. And then let's see what we got here. Look at this. I mean, is that like super awesome, you guys? I think so. So you do the same thing for the orange one. Let's look at the block again. Kind of getting a mess here, just like real life. There's this one. Now we have to do the orange one. The orange finishes at 8, so cut your square at 9. And then you do the same thing. You take it off. Let me do it again for the road. Just scoring the paper. Fold it. Oh wait, I want to do it shiny side out, fusible out. If you're so inclined, put a touch of glue. Touch of glue. Don't iron it now because your fusing will go all over your iron, right? Just get in the fold. I'm going to put another little bit of glue stick in there. I'm going to go back to my regular size rotary cutter that's designed for this many layers. I'm going to put this, the fold in the corner. I'm going to find number 8, which is right here. And yay! And now we have the last one, which is 10 inches. Here's the situation. This fusible is only 10 inches. So I can't overcut it at 11 inches. So this is what I did. Let me get this out of the way. Don't you love it how everything explodes when you do sewing? It just kind of happens. I have prefused the Appli-Web Plus on the back. You're going to cheat. That's the great thing with quilting. Cheaters sometimes do prosper. So, again, I'm going to do the glue in the corner, like that. And then I'm going to do the glue there. I tried to do it without the glue, and it just was a pain. It just did not work nicely. Now what I'm going to do, because I want this to finish at 10 inches, this corner down here will not, if you line it up there, you're not going to make the 10 inches. There's the 10, there's the 10. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to equally on both sides pull it down so I can make the 10 arc, and you'll see that there's a little bit of space here. It does not matter. And then there you go. Okay, now let's talk about positioning it on the background. So here's my background, back to this snowball, or kind of off snowball. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you have a 1/4 inch floating from where the seam line's going to be. So I took my ruler and I just made a 1/4 inch right there. And then I brought this circle down to it. Then I went, looks like there's more on this side than this side. So I'll just bring it over a little bit. Then I might go and measure and make sure these sides are the same. Okay, that's 1 1/2. Ooh, 1 1/4. Pull it. That would mean this has to go this way until I get it perfectly centered. 1 1/4. A little bit more. And then go back again and make sure you have a 1/4 inch for your seam line here. Then you're going to take the orange and you're going to put it there. Then you're going to take the white and you're going to put it there. And then you're going to go fuse, and it's at this point I would go to my sewing machine and choose to stitch how you want to stitch around the raw edge. I happen to love the blanket stitch. Now let's talk about the stem and the leaves. I was super surprised to realize that the stem is actually pieced in. I thought it was applique, but it makes total sense. So here we have the background block of which we're going to make the leaves to go on top. One thing you're going to want to do is you're going to mark a line 3 inches up from the bottom and 2 inches up from the top, down from the top, and that's going to be where you justify your leaves. Now again, they give you a really nice template pattern that you can use if you want to do it with plastic. But back to this ruler, I thought this was really neat. As I mentioned, on one side, you've got full inch increments, and on the other side, you have 1/2 inch increments. And you can make your leaf from this particular template. I've marked on here the 7.5 inch line, because that's what I'm going to use. And I've also marked with a felt tip pen, let's see on here, exactly where the leaf is going to end and start. The great news about marking on something like this is that you can use alcohol swab and it will take it off. So feel free to use your Sharpie on your template and then take it back to nothing when you're done with it. I marked it because I found it very confusing on which line to use on these half leaves. I also write fold on the straight line because you only have to do it wrong once to understand how important it is to have the fold there. So here is my pre-fused piece of fabric. I believe it's 2.5 by 6. And I'm taking off my paper again. Get rid of this. Then I'm going to take my glue stick Glue stick the corners to hold the fold. I love that. It was so much harder to not do it. Don't glue stick in the middle because that's actually where the arc is going to be of the curve. But put on the ends because that's all going to be chopped off. Then I'm going to put the fold. I'll get there. Right there. And on this you may have to use your scissors a little bit. Okay. And then I'm going to take my rotary cutter. Let me go down here a little bit more. For some reason, I can't start it right in that crack, and I have to go back and cut it. So, I'm going to cut right there. Love these scissors of roses. And there you have your leaf. I mean, how simple is that? And then what you will do is you will line it up there. And note, see how it just misses the 1/4 inch right there? And you'll do 4 leaves. Applique it down the way you want to do it with your raw edge on your machine. And then you sew the whole thing together. This is so cute, it is so fun, it is so easy, and I'm telling you, anyone would love to get this quilt. So as you can see, this really is quite easy, and you're gonna love sitting at your machine stitching all of this down. So think of someone who might want this quilt, it might be you, and have at it and have fun.